evening, everyone, and welcome in to another edition of the Glenwood Coach Show live from Mike and Ed's Barbecue, and I'm with the head football coach of the Glenwood Gators. His name is Ryan Nelson. Coach, thank you so much for joining us as you do every single week, man.
Oh, yeah, Thrift. Glad to have you back.
You know I got to shake the hand now.
You know, not the result we wanted, but,
No.
you know, always good to be back in here on a Monday.
Yep.
After another hot, brutal day out there on the practice field. So just coming off of that. But always want to thank Chase and Mike and Ed's, his family, their workers that do a great job of making sure we're well fed when we get down here.
No doubt.
Always a pleasure to be down here at Mike and Ed's on Monday night for sure.
All right, Coach, let's just talk about it. Let's get it out of the way, and then we'll move on to Elba because that's what we're focusing on now. We'll start with the positives. What are some of the things that you took away that you really liked, you saw from your team against Valley on Friday?
Well, Thrift, I mean, in the first half, not a whole lot.
Yeah.
I'll say that. You know, we started slow again against them. You know, it's just, I'll take all the blame. I mean, that's all I can say is, you know, I didn't have the guys ready to play. So we get out there and, you know, once again, we're 20-0. But, you know, when you think about the positive, like you said, the second half was you know, for me, it was a gut check for our football team at halftime.
Yep.
And I challenge our kids, and you know, it's very difficult to come back down 3 scores, but it is doable. And I just, you know, I was more happy with our effort in the second half, and we didn't quit. And my God, we had some guys battle.
Yeah, you did.
And you know, on both sides of the ball. So, you know, we're able to shut them out in the second half. So that's a positive. Coach McConnell and our defense staff, I thought we made some adjustments in the second half. And then offensively, you know, it was just, man, we just couldn't get the ball in the end zone.
Right.
And, you know, I really feel like if we could have got that score right before the half and pushed it 20-7, I think the game could have been different.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, we couldn't get the ball in from the 3-yard line, and it happens. And, you know, what do you say? What do? You say get back to work. And,
Yeah.
you know, I think we got back to work yesterday on Sunday, and as a staff, as our team, and we got back to work this morning and back on the practice field this afternoon. So we just got to find ways to score the ball. You know, we had more first downs than them.
Yeah.
You know, we had a lot more time possession than them. We even had more yards than them. And a lot of people don't see that kind of stuff.
No.
I know I'm not into moral victories either, but you know, we've got to find ways. You know, when we're moving the ball, because we had a lot of productive plays offensively.
Right.
We got to find ways, like I said, to score the ball.
Finish the
Yeah,
drive.
and you know, when you take away some of the playmakers we had, you know, especially the Mason McCranes, who's a big-time red zone threat down there, you know, with his length, and you know, you had the guys like JB and Cam Cooper and Levi, and you know, a lot of our, you know, big-time threats were gone, and from this year. Now you still got Carter back, you still got Cal back, and you know, Cam Dawson played a really good game for us. I was proud of the way he played, and then breaking in a new quarterback. So you know, it's the first game. We played a bad half.
Yeah.
I thought we came back in the second half and played a lot better. So I'm excited to see what we're going to progress into this week and show what we're going to show on Friday.
I agree with you, though, on that first half. It was kind of a momentum killer. If you get that touchdown, Coach, I'm going to be honest with you, I think you would have made the comeback. But it's neither here nor there. You got to like the fact that your kids didn't quit. Because that 20-0 could have been 42-0. We saw a lot of them around this area where teams just quit. Your team did not do that. Now, talk about the quarterback position. What do you thought you saw from your guys?
Well, you know, we went with Trey, and, you know, we felt like Trey gave us the best chance to win in that ball game, you know, because we had a lot of design quarterback runs, and we were trying to get him going. And, you know, we were breaking in a new offensive line. You know, we had a couple of guys that were coming back, but we had a couple of guys that started for us last year that had to go play defense for us. So we're breaking in 2 new guys over there. So, you know, from a quarterback position, I thought Trey, you know, held up and did a good job. You know, did he make a lot of mistakes? Yes. Are they correcting more mistakes? Yes. But, you know, he also made a lot of plays. Yeah. So, you know, that was positive to see. And, you know, he went down kind of with a foot injury there, and Jalen came in, and Jalen made a few good throws, so he was able to play a little bit. You know, the plan was to play both of them. I'll play Jalen a little bit more going in, but just kind of how the game flowed, we just kind of felt like we needed Trey in from a standpoint of, you know, his legs and being able to get in and out of the pocket and things like that. So, lo and behold, you know, Jalen's back at practice this week, and Trey also, and so, you know, like I told him yesterday, go earn playing time this week. So, you know, like I told you last week, just because you start game 1 don't mean you got to start the rest of the season. So, you know, Jalen's got a good attitude right now, and he's back at work. So, you know, expecting him to play this week, and you know, we'll just kind of it may be a 2 quarterback system all year, but you know, from a Trey standpoint, I think he ended up going. I think he was like 31, I think it was, for, you know, 245 yards.
For a first start in that atmosphere? Come on,
exactly,
Coach.
and a touchdown. So the only, you know, the thing we got to clean up with him is his eyes and his feet. You know, I think his eyes got in the wrong place a few times. His drops were kind of uncharacteristic of him at times. But, you know, I really feel like from his standpoint, he it's the first time. You know, last year in the ninth grade, you know, he played a little bit of JV football as a ninth grader, played quarterback. Last year, obviously, he was hurt the whole year, so he didn't play. So, you know, it's almost like he took a year off of football and he's back in it, and the bullets were flying at him the other night. So, you know, give them a lot of credit. They had a lot of athletes. They got a lot of speed. And, you know, this is what I also think about the ball game is, you know, a lot of people don't understand. It's an uphill battle for us.
Yep.
You know, it was last year. You know, the ball fell our way a little bit last year. We were able to get out of that game last year, you know, and we talked about this last week, 21-20, and we went down 20-0 last year, and it very well could have been 40-0 last year.
No doubt.
But the same thing this year. But give Valley a lot of credit. Not only, you know, they're a 5A school, they're a little bit bigger than we are. They got some tremendous ball players, and their quarterback's really good. They got a lot of speed. And I told you that last week. They had a lot of speed and a lot of athleticism.
You did.
You know, it was very, very difficult to tackle their back for us at times, very difficult to tackle those guys on the perimeter. So, you know, all in all, like I said, I'm not into moral victories at all because we expect to win at Glenwood, and we want to win at Glenwood very much. But, you know, when you go over there on the road, and, you know, we had some things called on us that as you go back and look, I'm never going to blame a referee, but, you know, typically you don't get 3 mouthpiece calls in a ball game when, you know, there's kids on their side, their mouthpiece out too. So, and, you know, and go back to the offense side of the ball, when you're getting calls like that against you and
derails the drive, Coach.
Well, when you're sitting there 1st and 10 and you get a mouthpiece call and now it goes back to 1st and 15, the play calling changes, everything changes. So, obviously I'm not blaming anything on official, but there was just some calls that, you know, typically I've been doing this, I think this is my 18th year, and I was, you know, I was kind of like, wow. You know, the holding's going to happen, the pre-snap penalty's going to happen.
But the mouth guard, come on.
Right, when you start talking about mouthpieces and things like that, and it kind of, you know, it is what it is. I'm going to move on from that. So, but we did get called 3 times, and they were all 3 on drive killers for us, you know, when it comes to that mouthpiece being called.
All right, so we're going to talk about what the things you want to improve this week, what's the preparation going to be like, and get into Elba here in just a little bit. It's the Glenwood Coaches Show at Mike and Ed's Barbecue on Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
Imagine making your dreams a reality, achieving your goals and aspirations, and having a financial partner that understands your dreams never sleep. At Kinetic Credit Union, we're more than just a bank. We're 40,000 members strong, with local service, personal connections, and a nationwide network. Leading-edge technology to help you make financial decisions easier, smarter, and safer. We are Kinetic Credit Union, the energy for your dreams.
It's a great day for a new Chevrolet from Glenn Smith and Opelika. Hit the road in a rugged new full-size Chevy Silverado with discounts up to $12,250 off MSRP. New Chevy Traverse, the spacious and comfortable ride with affordable pricing. Now with discounts up to $4,000 off MSRP. People from all over the USA are coming to Glenn Smith Chevrolet. Get ready to drive and get ready to smile.
Welcome back here, everyone, to the Glenwood Coaches Show. We were just talking off air. Trey Clarity, as a sophomore, his first year starting, 245 yards, 2 touchdowns, and interception. That is nothing to be upset about, Coach. That is something you can definitely work on. So for moving into this week, what are some of the things, and we'll start with him first, that you want to kind of have him correct as you head into Elba on Friday?
Well, coming back from the quarterback position is just, you know, like I said, it's more of his eyes and his feet. I thought Trey did a phenomenal job of being what I call a warrior and a winner out there in the second half. He took some big-time blows in the second half, and he just kept on getting up and getting up. So, you know, we knew that going in with the type of kid he is. He's going to give us a chance. But it's just from our first start, like I said, he's got a lot of stuff to clean up with his eyes and his feet. So, you know, he did a good job on a lot of things. And, you know, playing quarterback in our system is like I tell everybody, it's like playing point guard in basketball.
We want to facilitate, man.
We just want to deal the ball to our playmakers and letting them, you know, make you look good. So he did a good job of that. But I'm going to get back to your question and not only talk about the quarterback. There's 2 things we got to do as a football team right now in order for us to get better and play at the championship level that I want to play at. And number 1 is running the football. we rushed for 100 yards.
That is not Ryan Nelson team.
Not at all.
At all.
So, it's not nobody's fault. You can, again, blame it on me. I'm the head coach. But we've got to get better up front.
Right.
We've got to get better at running back. We got to get better at quarterback. We got to get better at every position. We got to get better at blocking on the perimeter. I mean, it was a combination of everything. And, Carter Judah had a really good ball game.
Yeah.
But, his stats and everything wasn't there because, it may be this, it may be that. So, as a collective whole, when it comes to offensive football, we got to do a better job of running the ball. And that controls the game. That keeps the defense off the field. It keeps the clock moving. And it just, visually, it's more size than a football team when you can sit there and run the ball. And, last year we had a kind of a two-headed monster where, you had JB and you had Kai. Then you had Levi that could still spin it. So, you're very difficult to stop when you can do everything.
Right.
So we got to find out offensively a way to run the football. And then the second thing is we got to come back and we got to find a way to stop the run. That's the only thing I thought defensively. We did a good job. We gave up 2 big balls over the top of our head in the first half. And we kind of got that corrected. One of them was for a touchdown. The other one was for a deep ball down their sideline that set up a touchdown. But we shut their passing game down pretty much after that. But we were not able to get off the field like I wanted to because we couldn't stop the run in the second half. And a lot of that goes to, on both sides of the ball is we don't have a lot of depth up front. So we're having to play our starters on offense or, it's not our starters on defense or our key backups and vice versa. Our starters on defense are our key backups on the offense line. So we're having to figure some things out in our building right now, what we can and can't do, and it's new for us. We usually, we've got ever since I've been here, we've had, guys that didn't have to start on both sides of the ball up front. So it's new for us. We got to figure it out. And but it's just something like I told the group yesterday. It's the first ball game, and it was the first half or the first ball game that a lot of these kids have played together, and a lot of our coaches have been together. So we got some figuring out to do. But again, I told the kids, I told all the coaches Sunday in the meet and everything. I can't be more happy of our football team and the championship mindset we showed in the second half.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it could have been 45.
It
could have got that way, but we fought. And I can't, be more thankful of the guys I coach, and I love those kids to death because they're going to fight for our program and for our school.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Coach. And now you're taking on Elba. They lost to Laverne, 56-0. Now Laverne is a pretty good program, but Elba last year replacing that all-world running back. What do you know about them, and what are your expectations with Elba coming in this Friday night?
Right. Well, first and foremost, when you turn the film on, they don't have Alvin Henderson, and they don't have that quarterback. So thank God those guys graduated because this time last year.
That was a great game, too, man.
Yeah, me and Coach McConnell, there was a lot of nights we didn't sleep that week because you can't with that guy because he was such of a, he gets a crease like this and he scores, but they do have a really good running back coming back that played there last year. So he played linebacker. We do remember him. And they do got a really good, inside linebacker come back also. So kind of a different team. They got a new coach, and that coach left. So, last year they played in almost a single wing offense. They packed everything in. This guy's a little bit more spread. He's coming from Enterprise over there, not far from Elba and all that kind of stuff. So, he's a little bit more of a spread guy. He's going to be in some tight end. He's going to be in more open sets. They're breaking in a new quarterback. And then defensively, they're kind of similar to what they were last year schematically, but, the team that played Laverne, they packed it in like Elba did last year. So it's kind of hard to tell, what they're going to do against open sets. They didn't face it a whole lot last week. So we're going to have to be able to adjust, adjust a lot on the run when we get out there offensively. But, like I told our coaches is, football is football. We're going to see an even front. We're going to see an odd front. We're going to see a bare front. And there's 11 people on the field. I mean, they're not recreating the defense over there. So, we're going to get one of the three, one of the four. We're going to get them. So we got to be able to block it and be sound in what we're doing. So, good thing we don't have to go back to Elba. That was a trip last year I was worried about because it was the first long road trip. So they get to come here. Hopefully our fans will be here. I know there's a big college football game Friday night with Auburn and Baylor, but there's nothing we can do. And to all the fans, we tried to get this game moved back in the summer to Thursday night. But they have some things going on at their school when it comes to transportation and things like that, where they weren't able to get the buses and stuff down here on Thursday night. So we're playing Friday night, and Mr. Johnson told me today that he is going to have a big screen smart board up there by the concession stand where he's going to project the Auburn game, so you can sit back and watch that and still watch the Glenwood Gators too. So you're going to have the best of both worlds if you come to the game on Friday.
Coach, everybody has one of these.
That's right.
Everybody can watch the game on ESPN.
Ain't no doubt.
You can watch it on your phone. You need to be at the Swamp. And what for those who've never been to a game at the Swamp on a Friday night in Phoenix City, Alabama, can you kind of paint the picture what you're looking forward to this Friday night, first one of the season?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's all about just the atmosphere, having fun. You know, I want people to come, you know, bring their kids, bring their families. It's a very energetic atmosphere in pregame warm-ups. We're going to have the DJ going. The mood's going to be right down there. So, you know, but we do it for the kids, and they deserve it. And it's, you know, something that gets them going. It gets the atmosphere right. And then, you know, for the kids to show up, you know, we always have them in the back end zone behind the scoreboard. They may have sometimes the best ball game going in the stadium at night, the little flag football or the touch football they got going back there.
Those are fun, man.
I'm telling you what, they get after it back there. So, but we try to create a good, clean atmosphere. And, you know what, we want our fans there to pull for these kids. And we got to have our fans this week. You know, I told the team today, we didn't lose a regular season game all last year.
No.
The year before, we didn't lose a regular season game to the 10th ball game.
Right.
So this ain't we're not accustomed losing in the regular season. And so, you know, we got to figure out, you know, kind of how to pick ourselves up off the mat right now and get back and just win a game.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing, is just find a way to win one, and then we'll get to region play next week. So another thing I will say, too, about our atmosphere is Christopher Blackshear and Wes Hargrove. They do an amazing job coming in there and helping us with a lot of things from far as pregame warm-ups with the DJs and the Gator walks and the things like that. So I want to shout both of those guys out. They've been with me for a long time, and they everything you see on Friday night pregame, they have their hands in and they help us with it. So I can't thank them enough.
Yeah, Wes Hargrove, you know, he gets so fired up he wants to take his shirt off.
Hey, come see that guy at Gator Walk, lead us to house. So
listen, ain't nobody gets fired up more than Wes Hargrove, baby. I love it, man.
So.
All right, Coach, what are the next couple of days looking like practice-wise? You talked about you felt good today. You know, you had the film and meeting yesterday. What's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday going to look like?
We kind of had to go back today and, you know, have a practice where, you know, you have to do this sometimes in high school football. Not even high school, but, you know, in college too.
Yeah.
We went on the road Friday night, and it was a 4-quarter war. Yeah. And we got beat up.
Yeah.
I mean, we got guys that are bruised up, that are hurt. And so we bring them in on Sunday, and we lift, and we watch the film from Friday night, and we have treatment. But today it was kind of, I had to take the pass completely off everybody and just back up, and we had to go back to a fundamental teach day because of the simple fact I needed their body to heal another day.
Right.
So, you know, we'll get back out there tomorrow. It'll be a full go practice tomorrow. We'll be back blocking, tackling, doing everything we got to do to get ready. But I want to give them an extra day because it was such a physical 4-quarter war. And I'm going to tell you, you credit to Valley, man, they hit us a lot too.
They're physical.
Yeah, they were a very physical football team. So that's going to help us down the road. And it's going to help us that we had to play so many kids both ways, so we kind of know what kind of game it is, you know, down the road when you have to play that game. So, but like I said, in Wednesdays our normal, what we call a situational day. We you know, it's a big special teams, and we go over a lot of situations. And then Thursdays our play the game and get out of there and recharge those batteries and get ready for Friday morning prayer breakfast. So, you know, we start to get into a routine. But you know, we just kind of, my biggest thing is, and I've told the kids this twice this week, is play a clean football game.
No doubt.
Cut the penalties out, but let's get back to winning ways. Let's run the football. Let's stop the run, and then, you know, let everything else take care of itself.
No doubt, Coach. I'm excited. 8 p.m., 7:45. Countdown to kickoff. Elba versus Glenwood on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Coach, thank you so much. We all had fun. Thank you to Chase and Mike and Ed, because I'm about to go devour a barbecue sandwich. Coach McConnell is literally stuffing his face with wings as we're doing this show right now. Yeah. So ready to go eat, Coach. Thank you again. It's the Glenwood Coaches Show here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
Go game.